All right, you guys are having your test tomorrow for chapter 2. I'm going to say it again just so you know. There are 16 questions. Out of those 16 questions, 2 of them, I'll zoom in for that so you guys can see it. 2 of them are proof questions. You are going to have 1 algebraic, 1 geometric. Algebraic proof will be completely on your own, and I'll show you an example on the review. And then the geometric proof will be fill in the blank. Keep in mind there is a difference between fill in the blank and multiple choice. It'll have fill in the blanks, and you guys have to remember what goes in there, okay? You have to remember your postulates, theorems, properties, definitions. So you don't know what kind of proof it is or what they're asking for, but you have to know those vocabulary words. So yes, there are 16 questions, and out of 2 of them, it's proofs. Each of them are worth 8 points. So even if you get 1 of the proofs wrong, you're just losing 8 points, so you still have the opportunity of getting an A. Okay, so don't just focus on proofs. Make sure you know this is a full chapter 2 test. So you have to know your vocabulary, your inverse, converse, conditional, biconditional, detachment, syllogism. You have to know those vocabulary words. There are more. Just make sure you're practicing. Katya?
Which one's fill in the blank again? I'm sorry.
The geometric proof will be fill in the blank. The algebraic, like on the notes on this review, I'll show you an example of, it's just going to give you an equation, and then it says solve and justify your steps. But then the geometric one will be fill in the blank, so you'll be able to it'll kind of guide you to where you need to be. Yeah.
For the algebraic one, when it says like solve, do we have to do 3 columns or 2?
It's just 2.
Because on there, like on the example, it said like what you were doing and then.
No, we kind of do it that way, but we show the work on the statement side. We're just doing 2 column proofs with your statements and your reasons. You don't have to be specific on what you're doing for your reasons. Just if you're adding, let's say you're adding a 6 to both sides, you could just put addition property. You don't have to put adding 6 to both sides, addition property of equality. Just put addition property, that's fine. Okay, so we're gonna go over this review, and then I'm gonna show you 2 questions that I need you guys to practice for the test because I don't think there was any in this review. So I typed these out because yes, it was a lot to write. You guys, if you wrote it, if you typed it, that was fine. They're asking you, it says, write the if-then form, the converse, the inverse, the contrapositive, and the biconditional of the conditional statement. So the statement was 2 lines intersect in a point. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this one. If 2 lines intersect, then their intersection is a point. You should have had something along those lines. If yours doesn't really make sense, just write the conditional statement. You don't have to write all of this because I feel like by now we should know how to write the converse, inverse, contrapositive, and biconditional. So for number 1, your conditional statement was, if 2 lines intersect, then their intersection is a point. Your converse, which is switched, if 2 lines intersect in a point, then they are intersecting lines. My inverse, if 2 lines do not intersect, then they do not intersect in a point. Contrapositive, if 2 lines do not intersect in a point, then they are not intersecting lines. And then our biconditional, you're taking out that if, you're taking out the then, and you're writing if and only if in the middle. 2 lines intersect if and only if they intersect in a point. So when I'm looking at this, I have P to Q. I have Q to P. I have negating P to negating Q. I have negating Q to negating P. And then this one is, you could put PQ or QP, but you could switch them. Okay, so just highlighting what is what so you know. This is your P. This is your Q. Without the if and then. I shouldn't have highlighted my if and then, so let me erase that. Okay, so you can kind of follow along with these on where the order is. Yes, Jonah.
We're biconditional could be right if it's 2x.
IFF? Yes, that's fine. If you put IFF for shortening it, for the if and only if,
Could we write down the test?
yes. So these would be more multiple choice because there's a lot to write. All right, number 2 says 4x plus 9 equals 21. Because x equals 3, this is how it should be written. My conditional, if 4x plus 9 equals 21, then x equals 3. Converse is I'm switching them. If x equals 3, then 4x plus 9 equals 21. And then when you're negating, keep in mind what they did was they put a slash through the equal sign. That is fine. Or for those of you that might have actually written out does not equal, that is fine as well. So inverse, if 4x plus 9 does not equal 21, then x does not equal 3, contrapositive. If x does not equal 3, then 4x plus 9 does not equal 21. My biconditional, 4x plus 9 equals 21 if and only if x equals 3. That's for number 2. All right, number 3, they said supplementary angles sum to 180. If you did not want to put that word sum, I would have also taken, for example, my conditional statement. If 2 angles are supplementary, then they add to 180. If you put something along those lines, that's fine, because that word sum in there just sounds a little weird.
What about equal?
If you put what?
Equal 180.
Equal 180, that's fine. Okay, my converse would be if 2 angles add to equal 180, then they are supplementary. Okay, why? Because I'm specifically talking about 2. Supplementary is 2 angles. Inverse, if 2 angles are not supplementary, then they do not add to equal 180. Contrapositive, if 2 angles do not add to 180, then they are not supplementary. And then biconditional, 2 angles are supplementary if and only if they add to 180. So that's an option for that one. Okay, questions on 1, 2, or 3? All right, let's go ahead and do 4. Right angles are 90 degrees. Okay, looking at my conditional statement, if an angle is a right angle, then its measure is 90 degrees. Converse, I'm switching them. If an angle measures 90 degrees, then it is a right angle. Inverse, I'm negating my conditional statement. If an angle is not a right angle, then its measure is not 90 degrees. Contrapositive is my long one. I have to negate it and switch it. If an angle does not measure 90 degrees, then it is not a right angle. And biconditional, using the conditional statement, an angle is a right angle if and only if its measure is 90 degrees. Any questions on 2.1? All right, these questions would be more multiple choice questions like your quiz for the test. All right, looking at number 5 and 6. 5 says, what conclusion can you make about the difference of any 2 odd integers? So here is my answer. What conclusion can be made? My conclusion could be 2 odd integers, when you're subtracting because it's asking for the difference, is going to equal an even integer. That's a conclusion I could make. I'm going to write it out, and I could also show you solving them. So you don't have to write so much detail for this. If you would have just given me a conclusion, what was your conclusion in the end? And then given me some examples for me to see that you actually kind of proved that conclusion. No, Jonah?
So would we not need to write the actual proof for it?
No.
Okay.
No, that's fine. All right, that's 5. Let's go ahead and look at 6. What conclusion can you make about the product, meaning multiply, of an even and an odd integer. So we're specifically looking for even and odd integer. What conclusion can be made? Even times an odd equals an even integer always. So again, you could have solved it to show me some answers. Yes.
Does it matter which one?
What do you mean? What does it matter what you plugged in?
No, does it matter like if we do the pattern or
If you did the pattern, I just need some explanation on what that pattern is.
what if I just did
If you just did what?
the
Like told me what the pattern was, then that's fine. Yeah, if you're showing me visually what, like, using numbers, just tell me.
Even times odd equals
Yes,
like,
that's fine.
I don't need like an example.
I would do a couple just to double check, but that's fine. Laura?
For number 6, could it be that the product of an even and odd integer will sometimes be odd?
Will sometimes be odd.
Possible conclusion?
If you show me an example, I would take it. All right, number 7. Use the law of detachment to make a valid conclusion. So, keyword here is detach. Okay, I am separating this into two statements. So they're giving me, normally like your conditional statement is one long statement. Detach means you are separating it, you are detaching it, separating it into two sentences. So looking at my conditional statement. If an angle is a right angle, then the angle measures 90 degrees. Look at what they're giving me next. Angle B is a right angle. Okay, where are they getting angle B? They're just being more specific. They said if an angle, and then they're just telling me that angle is going to be angle B. Angle B is a right angle. That's the first statement. So if we're looking at it, that's my first one. That is my first sentence. And then look at my second, which should be your answer. Then the angle measures 90 degrees. Again, we are specifically talking about angle B. So my conclusion should have been angle B equals 90 degrees. Okay, question on law of detachment. All right, law of syllogism. Use the law of syllogism to write a new conditional statement that follows from the pair of true statements. So looking at my statement. If x equals 3, then 2x equals 6. If 4x equals 12, then x equals 3. What is my overlap here? What is my overlap? Can anybody tell me? Brandon? Good. So pay attention to that. I am getting rid of that x equals 3 part. So I'm taking it out. I'm crossing this out. Please pay attention to how I'm writing this. I have my if-then statement. Let me highlight. Here is my if. Here is my then. Keep in mind how it's written. I am still writing my if first. Here is my if. If 4x equals 12, then I'm writing my then. Then 2x equals 6. I am not changing my then to if, and I'm not changing my if to then. I'm taking how it's written. If this is if, this has to come first. If this is my then my then has to come second. So understand that. If is going to come first, then is going to come second. Yes.
Oh, I wrote if x equals 3, then 2x equals 6 and 4x equals 12. That would be wrong, right?
That would be incorrect. Law of syllogism is getting rid of the overlap, so you actually have to take it completely out. Yes.
Is it wrong if like that switch so it says
Yes. Yep. If you put if 2x equals 6, then 4x equals 12, it would be incorrect. You gotta kind of write it how it's given to you. Because remember, if I switched this entire statement with this statement, then my if would still come first. So just be aware of that. All right, any questions on 2.1 and 2.2? Okay. 2.3. Okay, identifying information here. So looking at it, use the diagram at the right to determine whether you can assume the statement. So looking at number 9. Point A, B, and C, point A, B, C, and E are coplanar. So looking at my plane, are those points all on the same plane? Yes or no? A, B, C, and E, are they on the same plane? Yeah. Yes, they are. Good. All right, is HC perpendicular to C or GE? Yes, how can I tell? Good, it has that little right angle right here, and this one's a yes as well. All right, points F, B, and G are collinear. Yes or no? Points F, G, and B, are they collinear? No, they're not connected by a line. This is no. And then if you're wondering what this symbol means, it means parallel. Is line AB and line GE parallel? No. Okay, how do I tell that they're not parallel? If this line right here is not also showing that right angle, I cannot assume that they're parallel. They may look parallel, but because they're not showing me that right angle, this is also going to be no as well. All right, 13, 14, and 15. Just to let you know, you will not have to sketch anything on the test. However, it is good to know how to sketch it. So let's go ahead and sketch it ourselves. I have 13. 13 says, angle ABC is acute. Okay, so here's my acute angle. Is bisected by BE. So here's B, here's ray BE. If you drew this, great, you're almost there. This would be wrong. Why would it be wrong? Because keyword is that it's bisecting. If you're not showing me that these are congruent, it's wrong. Okay, you have to show me what bisecting means. It means the two angles are congruent. So if you just drew the angles and the ray, that's not showing me that it's bisecting. You have to make sure you're showing me that it's bisecting using your congruent points, your congruent marks. All right, 14. Angle CDE is a straight angle. It's bisected by KD. So here's my straight angle. Here's C. Here's D. And here's E. Line DK. Again, bisecting. What do you think I have to show here?
The two lines having their congruent.
Okay, the two lines that make them congruent. So I have to show my right angles. It's a straight angle that's 180. If it's bisecting it, meaning cutting it in half, each of those angles would be 90 degrees.
If you put the two lines for the C and E, would that be wrong too?
If you put them right here.
Yeah, like just like you see them laid out on the right angles.
I want to say yes. This would be wrong because if you're making those marks are segment marks. Okay, those are segment marks, so you can't put that. You have to show me that the angle is congruent. So yes, they would be incorrect. All right, 15. Okay, 15 wants you to draw two planes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of draw this image. I'm going to use this image as my plane. So I'm drawing it as best as I can. Here is what number 15. I'm going to do something like this. And then something like this. Okay, there are my two planes. I have plane P and plane R. Okay, writing them capital letters in the corners. Not putting a point because they're not a point. Plane P and plane R intersect perpendicularly in XY. So, drawing my XY. Here's line X and here's line Y. Perpendicular, I need to show it's a right angle, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a little right angle symbol because that's me showing that it is a 90-degree angle. You have to represent that it's 90 degrees. Perpendicular means it's 90, so I'm showing that right angle. Okay, just so it looks a little better, I'll put it right here. Even though, nope, that doesn't look any better. I'll put it right here. Okay, that little right angle. Next, what do I have to represent? ZY, okay? This is a segment. Segment ZY lies on plane P, or not ZY, ZW. So ZW, segment ZW, you could put it anywhere. Segment ZW lies on plane P. Done. Okay, just make sure you're showing it on plane P. All right, questions on 2-3. Questions on 2-3? We're good? All right, 2-4. This is what I'm talking about. You will see this on the test. All you're going to be given is an equation that says justify the proof. So now I have to solve them out. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of these for you so you can check your work. 16, I'm going to have negative 9x minus 21 equals negative 20x minus 87. And then I'm going to have my T-chart with my statements and my reasons. This is my first one. My first one's always going to be what? Good. All right, now what am I doing first? Again, on this, you could have multiple different ways depending on what you did first, okay? As long as we get to the same answer, what am I doing first? I heard addition, so what am I adding? Which one?
9x.
Okay, we'll add 9x. Okay, now what am I going to get? I'm going to get negative 21 equals 11, negative 11, x minus 87. What property? What's my reason behind that? What did I do? Addition, POE. All right, next, what am I going to do? So now, add 87. So now I'm going to have 66 equals negative 11x. And what did I do? Good, I still did addition, POE. Hold on.
Does it have to be in that same order, or can I put
No.
both ones?
Okay, what do you mean what order?
Like, I put like the same order, it's just I put like plus 20 on both sides, and then...
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I'm saying. Because the algebraic one on the test is completely blank, you could do it different than someone else. So I just have to make sure that you have the right reason and solved it correctly. So that's fine if you subtracted, or if you added 20x to both sides, we should still get the same answer in the end. You're just doing it a different way. That's fine. Yeah. And then you're dividing by negative 11. So my answer is going to be x equals negative 6. Don't forget that negative sign. Yes, you will be able to use a calculator. Again, if you do not have one, I have plenty of calculators that you can borrow. But yes, you'll be able to use a calculator for the test. All right, that was 16. let me go ahead and now I'm going to do 17. I will do 17 over here. So we have 15x plus 22 equals 7x plus 62. Statements, reasons. Reason 1 is given. All right, what am I doing first? Okay, we can subtract 7x. So I am now going to have 8x plus 22 equals 62. And what did I do for step 2? Subtraction, POE. Yes, it's okay if you abbreviate on the test. All right, now what am I doing? Good. 8x equals 40. Again, subtraction, POE. All right, next. Good. X equals, good. All right, questions on 17. This was 17. All right. Next, we're going to go to 18. 3 times 2x plus 9 equals 30. Statements, reasons. This is 18. All right, what's my first reason? Given, good. Now what am I going to do? Good, I'm distributing my 3 to both sides. So I'm going to have 6x plus 27 equals 30. My second reason is distribution property. All right, what am I going to do next? Good. So this one we should all have the same because there's really only these steps that you can do in order. So 6x equals 3. This should be 3, not 2. Subtraction, POE. And then next, go divide both sides by 6. X equals 3 over 6, but simplifying it 1 over 2. So last class, some students asked, they added an extra step for simplifying. That is fine. You can do that if you want. Or you could just leave it like this. So you could add step 5 and write simplify. That is fine. You'll still get credit for it. So if you don't want to just simplify it right off the bat, you could also put a next step for simplifying 3 over 6. All right, questions on 18, yes.
For the distribution, do you have to put like the P for property?
Just put distribution is fine. Yeah. All right, 19 is a little lengthy, so I'm just going to do it underneath here. So 19, I have 5x. Let me actually put 1. 5x plus 2 times 2x minus 23 equals negative 154. Statements, reasons, I kind of cut in here. This is going to be given. We should know that. What am I doing next? Good. I'm doing my distribution. I'm distributing my 2 to everything on the inside of my parentheses. So I'm going to have 5x plus 4x minus 46 equals negative 154. And that was distribution. Now what am I going to do? Okay, if you put combine like terms, that is fine. I'll take that as an answer. Okay, so if you did So for 3, if you put combined like terms, that's fine, I'll take it. Okay, however, if you also put simplify, these are both correct. Yeah.
I put it in one single step. Like I put like it was simplified and combined, but I put it in one single step. Like from 2 to 3 I put it in one.
So you went from 2 to what we would go for 4?
Yes. So I just added a 3.
So let's just do 4 and show me.
Okay.
4 would be what? Adding 46, right? So now you have 9x equals negative 108. And this was addition POE. So you went straight from 2 to 4. Okay. If you if you were at 2 and then you got rid of this 46, that's fine, but eventually you're gonna have to show me you combine like terms. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I added 46 and then I combined.
That's fine as well. So yes, if you did, let's say you went to distribution and then you got this answer, then you added 46, and let's say you got, let's say you went from here and you did 5x plus 4x equals negative 108, that's fine. Okay, if you went from step 2 to that, that's fine. Then it would have to see you simplify. So then you would do the next step. So this would be then 3. This would be then 4. 9x equals negative 108. That would be fine. Okay. Sophia, did that answer your question?
Yes. So do I just add the extra step of simplifying?
So did you leave the 5x plus 4x?
I put distributive / simplify instead of putting distributive and simplify.
No, I still need to see the steps. You still need to write them out.
Okay, so then I just.
So you have to show me 2. And then you have to show me some sort of combined like terms. So if you were here for 3, you distributed and you got this, and then you moved the 46 over, and this would have been step 3. That's fine, but then I still need to see the simplify.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we should all be now at the same step for 4. All right, next. Step 5 would then be to divide. So 5, I'm going to get my answer, x equals negative 12. And this would be division, POE. Okay. Questions on 16 through 19. So yes, you will see 16 through 19 on the test. That is a blank proof. You're going to have to do it yourself, which should be the easy ones. All right, 20. They're just asking what property is illustrated. Can anybody tell me what property is illustrated here? Yes. Gianna? Mm-hmm. Good. This is transitive. And then 21, what property is illustrated here? Yes. Reflexive. Reflexive. Reflexive, yes. Reflexive. It's it's called reflexive. So yes, I understand what you're writing, but it's reflexive, yeah. That's a question I'll have to ask the other math teacher as well.
What if I spelled it wrong?
You should know. You should spell it right. You should spell it right. Sophia, what's your question?
I put substitution for the.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll take substitution. But it's specifically asking what property, so it is transitive, but when you're showing your work and you put substitution, that's fine. All right, questions on 2.3 and 2.4. Hopefully we got everything. All right, we're almost done. 2.5. So I told you guys cross out 25. You didn't have to worry about 25, so You did not have to do that. All right, 22. What property is illustrated here? Camilla. What is it?
It's not?
Say it one more time. Symmetric. It's transitive. No, wait, just kidding. It is symmetric. I'm thinking of 24. No, this one's symmetric. Symmetric property because it's switching the order. 24 would be you're getting rid of the overlap. This is just switching the order. My mistake. Switch order. This one is symmetric. All right, what about 23? Yes. Reflexive. And then 24, I said what it was. You're getting rid of that overlap. So this one is transitive. All right, last question. Is a proof question? Write a proof using any format. So I would rather us use 2-column proofs because we are only using 2-column proofs in this class. So there are multiple ways you could solve this proof. If we remembered our theorems, this should have been easy. So I'm going to show you the example that the book gives you, but then I'm going to do it a different way because I feel like this is how most students did it. So this is what the answer was. However, if you did not remember your theorems, congruent complements theorem, you would not have been able to do this one. Yes.
I put both of them together.
That's fine. That's fine. Yes, if you put both of them together, then you could have done this in 3 steps. Okay, meaning this would have been given using this one and this one. And then you would have made this one complementary. Then you could have said congruent complements theorem.
So would this be though
No.
for paragraph proof?
2-column proofs.
Because the question said you could use any.
But we're only doing 2-column proofs in this class. I'll read it just to double check, but I'll double check it. Okay? So, however, I'm going to show you the way that most students have done it. So you are able to write your own proof if you have to. So I'll go back for you. I'm just going to do my 2-column proof so you guys can see it. So I did the 2-column proof in the other class. This is how majority of them did it. So you have your statements, you have your reasons, and then they have the given. So angle 3 and angle 2 are complementary. That looks messy. And then the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 90 degrees, and that's given. All right, so my goal is to get angle 3 is congruent to angle 1. Okay, so looking at this, I know what the definition of complementary is, right? Can anybody tell me what would my next step be? Anybody have an idea? Sophia? Okay, so I can now go to measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 90. And that is from definition of complementary. All right, now what can I go to next? Anybody have an idea? Substitution or transitive, but what am I combining? I think this is the problem that a lot of people had. What am I combining here? Yeah, Bailey? Perfect. So I would put the measure of angle 3 first instead of putting measure of angle 1. Because if I'm looking at what I'm trying to prove, that 3 is first. So that is what I'm putting first. And this one is substitution. Or you could have put transitive. Okay. Next, 4. What am I doing next? Gianna?
Yeah, I was gonna ask something about the fruit.
Go ahead.
Like, what are you taking out?
So what am I getting rid of? If this equals 90 degrees, this also equals 90 degrees, so I could substitute it for the 90. Or think of it as transitive, where I'm getting rid of those 90s. Yeah, Sophia?
Subtraction, how we're doing equality, so we're subtracting the measure of angle 2.
Good. I'm subtracting the measure of angle 2. Subtraction POE, and then my last step is what? Remember, I have to get it to my angles are congruent. Good. Definition of congruent angles. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 1 by definition of congruent angles. All right, so that is how a majority of the students did it. But again, if you remembered your theorem, congruent complements theorem, you could have really done it in 3 steps. All right, do we have any questions on the review? I'm going to go over 2 questions that weren't really covered on this review that you still need to know for your test. So please look up at the screen. Number 12 right here. I've told you guys you have to remember this for your test. Number 12 and number 9. Number 12, this is on 2.4a. Okay, I'm going to read the question. There are 2 answers for this question. Please pay attention. It says the formula for surface area of a rectangular prism is given by the equation A equals 2 times your length times your width plus 2 times your length times your height plus 2 times your height times your width, where L is the length, W is the width, and H is the height. First thing you need to do is solve for the formula for W. Solve the formula for W. Don't worry about justifying your steps. Second thing they're asking you to do, find the width of the prism if the total surface area is 52, 2 and 4 inches for the height. You need 2 answers for this, so pay attention to this one. I first solved for W right here. Then I plugged in the information they gave me and I solved for W. You have to know how to do this. Ms. Chung, where can I get more practice for this? Because I want to make sure I know how to do everything. If you go to the top right here, 4, 5, and 6, if you can solve for the variable correctly, you should be able to plug in numbers easily, okay? So please study this because you will have a question like this on your test. Here is another one, 2.4b, but I rather you not take a picture of this one and try to do this one on your own, okay? So this is on the video for you to rewatch it. It's here, but remember the answers are at the bottom for this review. So please study these questions at the top. All right, test is tomorrow. Please study.